Hello, everyone. It's me, Miss Sue, and I am the art teacher for the Art Explosion art classes that we hold here at the Bethel Park Community and Rec Center. And of course, right now we're all home, but with the help of Bethel Park and Dave from Bethel Park TV and Kathy from the Bethel Park Community and Rec Center, I'm able to actually come into your home and to do some art with you. So I'm really excited about that today. A lot of you are my friends that I know from my classes, and so you know Miss Betty. Miss Betty is my mascot, and she always cheers us on to do good art. So I'm going to reach Miss Betty up to your TV set, and she's going to give you a quick high five. And maybe a foot five too, so we'll go with a foot five as well. And some of you who don't know me are probably saying, that's kind of silly because that looks like a stuffed animal. And you're right, it is a stuffed animal. But I like to start my art classes off with Miss Betty because she gets my imagination going and she gets my creativity going. And that's really important when it comes to art. So if you have a friend you want to bring while we do art together, it's always a fun thing. And they can kind of get your imagination and your creativity going as well. So again, like I mentioned, we're all kind of home right now. And because we're home, we find ourselves in a little different situation. Like I happen to be able to go out and walk around my backyard a little bit, and some of you guys probably can too. And maybe you can walk along your street. Maybe all you can do is look out your window. And that's okay too, because if you do that, and if you look outside right now, you can't help but notice it's changing out there. Right now, what I notice is all the beautiful colors. When I look outside, I see green, and not just a plain green. I see light green and the leaves that are coming out on the trees. I see dark green and maybe the plants that were around all winter and kept their leaves on, the evergreens. Maybe a blue green if you have a Colorado spruce in your yard, a pine tree. So there's a lot of shades of green, a lot of shades of color in flowers right now, purples and yellows and whites. I went out in my backyard and I couldn't help but notice there were a couple tiny little blue butterflies that were dancing around in my backyard. And I thought to myself, I've got to go get my sketchbook. So I immediately went inside. And as I was going inside, it reminded me of a very famous artist who also liked to show movement in his work. And that is Vincent van Gogh. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh, he lived about 150 years ago. One of the things that I find sort of different with him is that a lot of artists start out wanting to be artists. But Vincent van Gogh wasn't like that. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do. He was an art dealer for a while. He was a preacher for a while. He kind of couldn't make up his mind. And one of the things, Vincent van Gogh had a brother, and so he would write letters to his brother. And when he sent him a letter, he would include pictures, probably like a lot of us do. We send pictures off. And he would include pictures of things he did or things he saw. And it was his brother who encouraged him to go into art, and he did. This happens to be a very famous picture of Vincent van Gogh's. This is his vase with 12 sunflowers. Now, Vincent van Gogh liked to show a lot of color in his pictures. He liked to show movement in his pictures. His favorite color was yellow, and we can see that in this picture. When I look at this, now when I look at a picture, I tend to look at it and start off looking at it the way I read. So I enter into the picture right here, and I can't help but notice all these sunflowers. And so my eye goes up here to where some of the centers of the sunflowers are dark, and I kind of roam around inside there. I go down here, and I can see where Vincent van Gogh showed some movement, the flowers dropping off. But so my eye goes down here, and it comes right back into all these beautiful colors, and I can just spend a lot of time swirling around inside that picture of Vincent van Gogh's. This is his famous picture, Starry Night, and you can see the movement Vincent van Gogh shows in that picture as well. I love this picture. When I look at this picture, I notice this tree right up here, this big black tree of his, and you probably, if some of my friends have had the opportunity to go outside and hear the wind as it blows through the trees, and you can kind of hear the trees make a little bit of a creaking sound, almost like a door opening and closing. I always think of that as like the fairies of the forest coming out. But so when I look at this picture, I see this tree that probably is streaking a little bit, and I can tell because I see the wind that Vincent van Gogh has blowing through the sky, which he uses short brush strokes to make that happen. And then I can see all these beautiful bright colors for the stars, and I can see if I look down here at the town, and I can tell that it's not too windy of a night because some of the lights are off. So some of the townspeople are probably sleeping through the night, but some of the lights are on, so people are probably awake. And so when I go into this picture of Vincent van Gogh's, I can get lost in that one too, because I can see the stars in the sky. I can think, what is the town doing? I can hear the wind. I can hear the trees creak. So again, this is one of my favorite pictures of Vincent van Gogh. This is one that he did of flowers, and you can see the movement in this picture as well. You can see the leaves, how he has them going different directions. So you can tell he's trying to show us how these plants are moving. Vincent van Gogh also did butterflies, which a lot of people don't realize. And so this is a picture of a butterfly he did. And again, you see the lines that Vincent van Gogh is known for trying to show movement. And I think today we are going to do a butterfly. One of the cool things about Vincent van Gogh, before I get into our project, is he created over 1,600 pictures. I was like, when I heard that. I have a portfolio at home, and I have probably about 10 in it. So there's a big difference between the two of us. This is one of the pictures that I want to share with you today, and I want to share it because it has butterflies in it. And you can see my butterflies in this picture. These butterflies are made to look real. The butterflies we're going to do today are a little bit more abstract. And those of my friends who have taken my class before probably know what abstract is. So you're probably saying, I know. But abstract is something that's not quite real. So it's something maybe you might see more like in a dream. So that's what our butterflies are going to look at. We're going to reference this picture, though, as the day goes on when we talk a little bit more about butterflies. But let's start with the materials I gathered today for our art project and what we're going to use. And I started out with paper, and I just took a plain piece of smooth paper. This actually is my printer paper. You could use copy paper. I picked that because I figured a lot of people have that around their home, and so it would be an easy thing for us to use. I also have some crayons that we can use those. I have colored pencils. I have markers. I have both fine tip markers and I have wide markers because both of them do their own kind of job, and we might want to use both of them. And I have some regular pencils, an eraser, and a pencil sharpener. Now, when I start to draw something, one of the first things I do is I look at a picture and I look for the shapes. So if I look at these butterflies and I start to look at them, I can't help but notice the shapes I'm seeing. Like this, for example, if I look at just the top leaf, I can see, or the top wing, I can see that it's kind of like an oval. And then I can see the body, and I have an oval, maybe a little bit like a circle for the head. So I'm looking at circles and ovals. So I also walked around my house, and I found some things that would make a circle. So this is a great way to work with that. I found a can. I found some cups that could be used as circles. Here's measuring cups. These would make a cool circle. And I also have some coins. I thought a ruler might be a cool thing for this project too. This wouldn't make a circle, but I'll show you what we're going to do with this. Okay, so how do I start out? So to start off our butterfly, we are going to start by picking one of our shapes, and I'm going to choose this to make my wings on my butterfly, picking one of our circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making one of the outside wings, and I'm not going to trace the whole circle. I'm only going to trace part of it. So I'm going to put my circle down, and I'm going to go ahead and trace it around. So I have about half of a circle there. Now I want to make the other circle about the same height. I guess it's a half circle actually. So I'm going to use my pencil, or I could use my finger to kind of see if I have the can in the right spot. And I think I do. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace around the can and make that wing. Now I have to make the bottom two wings because our butterfly has 4 wings. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to position the can. I left some space in the middle, and that's because we have to fill in the butterfly's body. And we'll do that after we're done with this. So I'm going to again trace the half circle around for the bottom of the wing. And now I'm going to line up. I want to again make sure it's kind of close, so it looks to me like it is. And that way I can make, now see, I don't have too much of the body there, so I'm going to move this over a little bit to leave a little bit more room for my body of the butterfly. And there we go. So now we have the 4 wings of the butterfly. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the head and the body of the butterfly. So I'm going to start out by making a circle for the head. I'm going to do that. Make my butterfly's head. Next, I'm going to make his body, and a butterfly has 3 body parts. They have the head. The second body part, I'm going to make an oval, and that would be the butterfly's thorax. And then we're going to add the butterfly's abdomen, which is the 3rd body part. And I'm going to put a little bit of a point on the bottom of my butterfly, and I'll tell you why I did that in a little bit. After I draw those in, what I want to do is connect my wings. So I'm going to bring this line down, and I'm going to make just sort of, I guess that's almost like a little bit of a circle there as well to connect the 2 wings. So I'm going to do that on this side too. So that looks good. Lastly, I'm going to put in, well, I guess it isn't lastly because we have 2 more things to do. I'm going to put in an eye for my butterfly. So I want to put 2 eyes on him because he has 2 of them. And then there's something else I need to add to my butterfly, and that would be his antenna. So I'm going to add 2 of those to my butterfly, and we'll put a little circle on the end of those. And then the final step on it right now would be to take my eraser, and any lines I don't want, I'm going to erase those. And I save that part for last because then this way I can keep all the lines I like, and the lines I don't like, I can just erase them. So there we go. There's my butterfly. Now, the other thing we need to do with this butterfly is give him a little bit of a design. And that's why I brought these smaller coins that make great circles. So you can take these coins and you can trace them and make circles. And you can make both sides the same if you want. So again, I can take my finger, that's about right there. And I think that looks good. Or you can make the sides different. That's kind of up to you if you want. I put 2 circles here. I could make a smaller circle if I wanted to on the inside as well. So that's another option. Now you can trace things to make circles, or you can just draw them if you want to just try drawing them right by yourself. That's cool too. So you can turn around and say, I think I'll draw a circle down at the bottom here. And you can just do that if you'd like. Bring it around and put a circle in. And then you can do one on the other side if you want. Another cool thing you can use is a ruler, and they make some really nice lines. So you could turn around and put a line. I'm not going across the body. I just went on the wings, but you could put a line around your butterfly as well, which would be a cool thing to have. So you can decide how you want your butterfly decorated and make your design on it. I have a butterfly right here that I've already started at home. So I'm going to show you that one. Notice the 2 small circles I put at the bottom. Some butterflies have what they call eye spots. And that's so predators, if they see that butterfly, they think it's something different and they won't try to eat it. So if you look at my butterfly, does this kind of look a little bit maybe like a bird? I tried to make it like one, so that if something came along, it would be, oh, that's not a butterfly, that's a bird, even though it isn't. So that's why I put those in. So now, to color my butterfly in and to decorate it, I'm going to use the materials I brought with me. And I like to start out the lightest to the darkest. And so I think for my purposes, what would be the lightest is my colored pencils. So I'm going to begin with those. I'm going to start, if you notice, I already did eyes down in the bottom and decorated those. So I'm going to do the eye at the top. And when I'm coloring in something pretty solid, I hold my pencil up at the tip because that makes it a little bit darker and that makes it easier. And when I do an eye, I like to leave a little white spot in there. So I'm going to leave a small white spot in my eye just to make it look a little bit more realistic. So it almost looks like that butterfly is looking at you. If I would decide I want that eye darker, I can put another color on top of it. And that's kind of one of the nice things with colored pencils. You can go over top. So I'm kind of adding a little bit more color to both my eyes here. The next thing I'm going to use colored pencil for is around the border of my butterfly. And I'm going to start out, the nice thing with colored pencils is you can blend them, so you can put one on top of another, kind of creating a third color. So I'm going to start with my lightest one, which is the yellow. And you might notice I'm using all warm colors here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my pencil lightly. Now to shade with my pencil, I hold it further back. So I'm going to hold it lightly, and I'm just going pretty quick around, and I am going to shade in the border of my butterfly. So you can see I'm going around it. I'm able to move the pencil pretty fast because of the way I'm holding it. So I have the ability to go pretty quick, and I'm going all around my butterfly. Now, I want to add some other colors to this as well. So right now I have the yellow down. I'm also going to add a little bit of a red-orange to it. And I don't want to overpower my yellow. So again, look how far back I'm holding my pencil. And I'm just very lightly pressing in. I'm going to try to keep my pencil going the same direction. So I'm not kind of moving it all around. So I'm going to try to keep that same direction as I go throughout the picture. And I like that. I think that looks good. I think the one on the other side is a little darker, and that's because I also added some pink to that. The other thing I did is I outlined it in the red-orange. So I'm going to go around my butterfly right now, and I'm just going to outline it in a red-orange. Colored pencils are nice because, again, you can put one color on top of the other. You also can do that with crayons, and that works well too. So if you notice, I use crayons down in here. I started out with this really light green, and I put that one down first, and I wanted something darker. So I added some green to that, and then I decided I wanted it even darker. So then I added some more green to that. So you can see how I was able to blend those greens with that pencil, or with the crayons. I'm going to go ahead and color in the top here. So I want it to be the same way as this is. So notice I started out with orange. So I'm going to put my orange down first. One of the things about butterflies' wings is butterflies' wings are made up of scales. So you have a lot of scales on these wings, so they don't have to be exact. After the orange, I'm going to go to the pink. So I'm going to add my pink in. Now, one of the nice things is markers can go over top of crayon, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But so I have pink. Next, I have yellow. So I'm going to add yellow in. And when I'm trying to copy one thing to another, I like to use my fingers too, because this way then I can kind of follow along. Last one is red, and I can put my red down. So I'm going to do that next. Now, I had mentioned about markers, and markers can go over top of crayon, and that's kind of a cool thing too, because it can darken the color. So for example, I have some orange down there, I have some pink down there, let's see, I have red down there. So I'm going to take my orange marker, and I can go right over top of the orange crayon that I put down, and see how it picks up all the white space that I had left behind. I can also do that with my pink. And notice it'll just darken that color up for you. Now, if you put marker down and try to put crayon over top of it, it doesn't quite work as well. I think it works better to do the marker over the crayon. Lastly, I filled in this section with markers. So I'm going to go ahead with that. I use the light green marker, and I'm going to start with that one, and I'm just going to fill it in. And again, since it's scales, it doesn't have to be like a perfect line. So I'm just going right around the top of my wing of my butterfly, and I'm going to fill it right in. And then I did that also on the bottom. It looks like I missed a little spot with my pencil, so I'll probably need to go back and do that at some point. And there we go. I'm going to make this a little thicker since I made the other side thicker too. There we go. And now we have that done. This part here would color in orange. So I'm going to outline it first to make it easier. Well, let's see. We're going to do that. I'm doing pretty good working upside down. Friends, if you notice, I've never done that too much before. So now I'm going to fill this in, and I try, just like I did with my pencil, I try to keep my marker going in the same direction. Notice I'm using the big markers for these, and that's because the big markers do a much better job on big spaces. The little markers would do a better job on small spaces. You can see how I colored that in, and I think that looks pretty good. This piece here, I'm going to just grab my colored pencils again. I'm going to put my yellow down. And then I'm going to use my red-orange right over the top of that. So you can see how my butterfly is coming along here pretty good. The last thing is the body. And you can see I started this body with the color. And I know all my friends are saying green, green, green. So it is the color green. So I'm going to go ahead and outline because I find that easier if I outline it first, and then I'm going to just fill it right in with my crayon. I am pushing a little bit hard. I'm leaving some circles, the circles blank, and that is something that I'm going to use my small markers for. So as soon as I finish this up, I'm going to grab my small markers and I'll fill in these circles. And what color did I use on my small circles? Well, I used some pink and some yellow and some orange. So I'm going to again go with those colors, maybe add a pink dot up at the top. And let's see, I'm going to put, pink is one of my favorite colors, so I'm going to put a pink dot down here too. And then I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to add an orange dot. So I'm going to go ahead and put an orange dot right here. And then I'm going to get a yellow marker, and I'm going to add a yellow dot right in here. And there we go. Now we have a nice abstract butterfly that's all completed, and it's done. So hopefully you're working on yours. The other thing I want to point out to you that we have to do with this picture is like Vincent van Gogh, we have to think about our background. Now, I did put a background in this picture of mine. I didn't use the lines that Vincent van Gogh did, but you can see there's movement in the way I did it. So for this butterfly, I'm going to use markers, and I'm going to go with blues. So I have 3 shades of blue here, and I also want to use yellow. Now, when I want to mix a dark marker with a light color, I like to mix them with crayons. So I'm going to use these markers, and I'm going to use this one crayon, yellow crayon. And then what I'm going to do, friends, is I'm going to make some lines like the wind's blowing. So in order to do that, I'm going to put my marker kind of on its side. And I'm going to bring, and notice how some of that line can be thick, some of it can be thin, and you can make it however you want, like the wind might blow. And I'm going to put another dark blue line down to show how the wind's blowing in my picture. And my butterfly is dancing through. And then you can also use the blue. This is a lighter blue, so you can use a different shade. If you only have one shade of blue on your markers, that's okay. Use a pencil, or you can use a blue pencil and see what kind of line you can make with that. This tip is pretty sharp, but I probably would want it a little bit softer, so I'm going to try to use the side of the pencil, and I'm going to blow the wind through there and let it go into my picture. So pencils can be used, crayons can be used. So now you can add a little bit of yellow. I like to put in yellow because the blue reminds me of the sky, yellow reminds me of the sun, so it tells my friends that in my picture, it's during the day, it's a sunny day. And then the other thing I might add to that picture, like Vincent van Gogh would have put in, would have been some leaves to a plant. And those you also can add some motion to. So maybe I would bring a leaf up here. So I'm going to bring it up from the ground. I'm bringing it up through the wind, and I'm going to make that tip lean all the way over because I want you to tell that the wind is blowing that leaf and it's blowing it over. And then I'll just put a line down to show the vein. And then maybe I would put another leaf coming up next to it. I'll kind of put it in the background though, so I'm going to make it smaller. So that leaf I'll bring up and we'll put it over here, also leaning that direction. So you can decide what background you want. Maybe you'll want to put a flower in your picture in the background. Maybe you want to put your butterfly on a rock in your background. That's your decision. You can kind of decide what would work best for your picture. So that is our abstract butterfly. Now, I also wanted to talk to my friends about some ideas on doing some other butterfly projects. So we're going to again go to my picture here. And one of the things about this is these butterflies look real. And so maybe now you would like to draw a butterfly that looks a little bit more real. So how do we do that? Well, the best way I have found when I want to start drawing something that looks a little bit more real is I research it. So one of the things I did was I brought a couple books with me, and you might have some of these at home or something similar. You can use any book you have at home. So if you have a good storybook that has pictures of butterflies in it, use that, whatever you have. But do a little research on butterflies. So this happens to be a field guide from Audubon Society, the National Audubon Society, and it's full of butterflies, which is really cool. And you probably could find pictures of butterflies, if it's okay with Mom and Dad, on their website as well. This is a Peterson's Field Guide. I like this field guide because it also has the caterpillars as well. So you can find, this happens to be a page of moss, you can find the moth, and then you can also find what the caterpillar of that moth would look like. And then lastly, this is a cool butterfly guide. It's from Stokes. And I brought this because I wanted to show you something. If you look at the pictures in this book, which is very beautiful too, notice these butterfly pictures. A lot of times you'll see butterfly pictures in a book that show the butterfly's wings real high up here above the body. And when you see that if you wanted to draw a real butterfly, that is not how a butterfly sits. When you see a butterfly sitting on a branch, you'll notice that the wings aren't above his head. His head's right there, and the wings come out from the sides. And the reason is a butterfly's not able to hold its wings all the way up above its head when it's sitting on a flower or on a plant. So if you want to draw a real butterfly, that's something to keep in mind. You're going to want to make the wings so that they come out. Now, the other thing about butterflies that's really cool is their pattern. And it's hard sometimes to make a pattern on both sides. So let me show you a great way to do that. And we can do that from home as well right now. So all of us, I'm thinking, probably have access to a window. I don't have a window here with me, but I'm hoping my window will work that I brought, which is a light table. So we're going to see if we can get it started up here. And with my light table, it's going to simulate a window. And I might be able to get it work well enough even if it doesn't light up. So we'll see. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work with it like it was lit. And let me show you what we're going to do. The first thing we need to do is pick the butterfly we want to draw. So I have picked the orange sulfur butterfly. So let me start out with how I would draw that. And I do have it drawn here, so we'll use this for right now to show you guys. So I have it drawn here, and the first thing, let me just get a piece of my tape out. The first thing that I want to do is look for the shapes in the butterfly I'm going to draw, because that way I find that to work the easiest. So what if I look at my butterfly that I want to draw? I can see the oval. I can see the circle. So I start off by putting in my oval. And then the bottom wing, I took, this one has been darkened, but I took my pencil and I would come around and I would make the bottom wing. Next, I need to look at the pattern. And I like to use, again, my finger to follow around. But so if I start close to the body, and I did draw in the butterfly's body, I can see the circle for the head, the oval for the second body part or the thorax, and then another oval for the abdomen. So I went and put those in. The circle for the head. I left a little bit of an area for his, for like the part that would project out on his head, and the middle section, and then the body. I notice over here this little bit of pattern in gray, and I want to add that into my picture, so I'll have it. So I'm going to count. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sections. And so that's what I did here. I drew in the 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, and 4 sections. I notice here I have a black dot. I added that in. And I don't know if you can see, but there are 2 white dots. They're very visible on this wing, and so I added those in as well. I counted the yellow spaces on my top ring. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I added those in on my wing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to add in, let's see, we'll make sure which one we're missing. 1, and I think it's right up in here. So we're going to add in an 8th one up at the top and move that one down a little bit. On the bottom, I have these small sections in here. So notice where I've put those just with lines. So when I go in to color this butterfly, I will be able to know where to put those lines at. After I'm done drawing out my butterfly, I want to take a marker, which I've already done, and I'm going to outline it. Now notice I've only drawn half this butterfly. That's okay. What I'm going to do is outline it so that it's nice and dark. We're going to try this one more time just to see if it'll work. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got it. So what we're going to do is you will take your butterfly that you just made, and you're going to take it over to your window at home. I'm going to take mine over to my window. And I'm just going to stand this up a little bit to make it easier for all my friends to see it. Now notice what I just did. I turned that butterfly around. Did you see that? When we were drawing it, that butterfly was this way. But now I've turned it around and I put the back on my window. And what you want to do now is you want to take your marker and you want to go back over the back side of your butterfly, which I have already done. So yours would still be a little bit light because you drew it with a pencil. So you will take your marker and you would go over all the sections of the butterfly. So you've kind of put marker on both sides of your picture. Now what you're going to do is put your butterfly on your window. You're going to take a plain piece of paper, which I happen to have, and you can put it right over top of that butterfly, and look how you can see it. So now you can see that whole butterfly. Take your pencil, and what you're going to do is you're going to just trace over that butterfly. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to copy it over. Notice I'm drawing the body in as well. So I right now have the body I'm drawing in. Then I'm going to draw in some of the lines that I made. I'm making the shape of my wing. The reason you trace it over the first time with the marker is because it's much easier to see. If you pushed real hard with your pencil, you might be able to see that too. But I like to do it with a marker. Notice I'm coloring in to show some of the spaces. These were my markings on the wing, the black dot as well as the white. So I'm filling those in. I'm filling in my pieces that I had drawn in so that I can go back when I color it and I can remember that these spaces were yellow and all of this was kind of like a gray. So I'm going to color that in as well. Now notice I have half a butterfly drawn. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my picture, I'm going to take it off my window, and I am going to flip it over to the other side. So now I have the other side on. I'm going to take the picture of the butterfly I'm drawing. I'm going to line it up so that it's on there. Make sure I have a good space there. There we go. Wait. All right. So you want to it's important that you line it up right, because if you don't line it up, then it's not going to actually be in the right space. So now I have it lined up, and now I'm going to trace the other side over. So I'm going over the other wing. I'm going to go over the top wing. I once again add my markings in on the top wing and the bottom wing. Here's my spaces. And this is for me because I need to know this part here needs to be painted or colored with crayons, depending what I'm going to use, a different color. Notice I'm marking this one. And I need to put my spaces in. And when you get all completed tracing over your butterfly, there you go. So now you have the butterfly drawn, and both wings have the designs on the same side, and you're ready to start coloring. Touch up your drawing. My line's a little dark here. Here's one I made from home that I think is a little better example. But you can see. So now you have the butterfly that looks the same on both sides. So try this at home. This can be a lot of fun. And you could do it with butterflies. You can do it with other designs too. And since we're at home right now, using our windows is kind of a really cool thing to do. There was one other thing I wanted to share with you that could be a cool project to do with your butterflies. And that is when I do a picture, I will draw it, and then I take it over to my printer. And so if you guys have a printer at home, if mom and dad has a printer, they also can work as copiers. And one of the things you can do is you can take your drawing, like I could take this butterfly, and make a copy of it smaller. So this happens to be a butterfly that I drew. This is the one that's actually in the picture that I made, that I showed you guys. So this is the same butterfly. This was my original that I drew, and what I did was I took it over to my copy machine and I made it smaller. So I think this was like 80%, and then I made 70%, all the way down to 50%. So now I could take these pieces, I could take them over to my window, I could trace the butterfly in different sizes if I want. Notice how they're all cut out. And that's so I could put them in a design. So I could take them over to my window, I could put them maybe in a design that I would want, and then I could trace them. And that way I could have a picture of butterflies flying all around, however you would want to do it. So that's another fun project that you can do to try to take one butterfly or one drawing you made and use it a lot of different ways, which could be a lot of fun too. Mom and dad, just to let you know, sometimes you have to darken the picture to get it to show up. So you can either do that with your printer, or the kids can go over it and you guys can make it darker before you print it. So hopefully that gives you lots of fun ideas that you can go out and make a lot of butterflies and do a lot of designs. Some make them realistic, some you can do abstract, and this way you can have a lot of fun with what's going on outside in the spring. And don't forget your backgrounds to add to it. Now, anyone who's taken my class before knows this is the time that we would do our art gallery, and that's where we all get together and take the pictures we've just worked on for the last hour, and we take time to share them with each other and talk about them. And again, with the help of the Bethel Park and Kathy here at the Community Center, you are able to still do that. You can go to the Bethel Park Community and Rec Center, go to their Facebook page, and you can click on a link that'll allow you to upload a photograph of your picture. So get mom or dad to take it with their phone. They can help you to get it uploaded to the Facebook page, and we can see all the beautiful butterflies that everyone has made. And if I understand, I think you guys right now are being asked to decorate doors. So you can also take a picture of your door and send that over to the Facebook page. I would love to see your pictures too. Feel free to send them to me or to go to my website, which is www.enviro, E-N-V-I-R-O, art, that's short for environment, dash Pittsburgh, all wrote out, .com. And at my website, you will find ways to contact me through my email. And this way, if you want to share with me a picture you did, if you have a question, like if you are working on a butterfly picture and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, go ahead, zip me off an email. Again, make sure it's okay with mom and dad. Zip me one off, and then maybe I can help you with that and get you an answer on how that might work a little bit easier for you. The other thing, too, is if you want to share with me something really cool that you did with your butterfly art. I'd love to see it. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm hoping that I'll get to see all my friends at the Bethel Park summer camps that we have planned. Hopefully everything will be all opened up by then, and we'll be able to get together to do some art. And I'm also going to have Miss Betty give you a high five goodbye as well, because she likes to do that. So a high five to all my friends, a foot five too, and a foot five, and I hope to see everyone soon. Have fun, being creative, and doing lots of art. Bye, everyone.